Welcome to this week's installment of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don Henninger. I'm Don, and joining me, as always, is my podcast partner and a man who always looks good on camera, Kevin Maxwell.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
You're going to get a close-up, and you're going to get some acting lessons and some technical lessons today.
This is exciting.
From our guest, because we got a really cool guest today.
Yeah, we really do. This is going to be great.
Her name is Amanda Embry, and she's the department chair at Scottsdale Community College's School of Film and Theater. Amanda, welcome. We've been looking to get somebody from that school on, from that department on for so long now.
Oh, really? Well, I'm just so glad that I'm able to do that
You're
today.
on. This is going to be wonderful. And we're going to dig into that program there because it's one of the really cool sort of hidden secrets, if you will, of what's happening in Scottsdale. We're going to find out why that's the case today. So Scottsdale Community College has something going on that's really special there with your school. MovieMaker magazine calls it one of the 30 best film schools in the United States for 2024.
Isn't that amazing?
Variety magazine has made it top 20 film school for the past 2 years. That's crazy, right?
That's the industry standard magazine, right? And that's where all the authority, that's their authority, right?
That's the big thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have national publications rating you as one of the best film schools in the country, and right in our own backyard. Super cool.
Yeah. I mean, from where we're recording right now, it's less than a 10-minute drive. We're just down the street. Yeah.
I know, right here in our backyard. So you've been there 13 years. So you've been around for a while. And we now know that you're the department chair. But back us up a little bit. Let's get into some of your background. I know you went to SMU and the University of Evansville, and you had some time in New York where you're working as a costume designer. Tell us about your career, where you grew up, what's your career, how you got your career started, and how you ended up in Scottsdale.
Well, my life has kind of been a little bit all over. I was born and raised in Utah in a tiny town called American Fork, which is in between Provo and Salt Lake.
Kevin may know that.
A great marching band there.
You know why you know why he knows that? Because he was in it.
Oh, there you go. Also, they had a great theater program, which set me on my trajectory. I went to undergrad at University of Evansville. One of my favorite fellow alum is Rami Malek, who won the Academy Award for. Yeah,
great actor.
Fantastic actor. Yeah. So we were in school together. And then I went right out of undergrad into graduate school at Southern Methodist University in Dallas. And I studied as a technical theater design person, specifically set and costume design. And when you get done with something like that in a graduate program, you kind of only have a couple places you can go. LA, New York, maybe Chicago. Mm-hmm. So I chose New York and I went there and I was there for almost 10 years. Really just doing what you do to survive, to like earn a living and be able to do a lot of different things. So I really started in theater, but about halfway through my tenure in New York, I met a really great film producer who really liked my design sensibilities. And so he brought me on all kinds of film projects. So I started to do a lot of film work the last sort of 4 years when I was in New York City. Wow. So I've done a little bit of both.
So what was it like being in New York on Broadway and doing Broadway shows behind the scenes, behind the curtain? What was life like there? I mean, you hear a lot about how the actors deal with things, how they got to work 2 jobs because you got to, you're really struggling to make ends meet. What's it like when you're behind the curtain?
It's similar.
Is it?
Yeah, it can be a struggle, but it's fun. I mean, you get to do theater for a living or film. You work really hard. It's a lot of long hours. It's always long hours, no matter where that is, especially if you're dedicated to it. But the nice thing about New York is the rewards are amazing. So, you do really hard work and you're dedicated to it, then it just rewards you with attention, getting to meet really great people. And it has such a crazy, wild vibe in terms of adventure. You never know where it's going to lead. So, there's some really nice benefits to being able to do it. The old song, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
It's True. Tough enough that if you can make it in New York, then you can definitely handle any other city in the country, I think. So, you claw your way up there, then everything else is
What were some of your favorite memories? What were some of the shows that stick out as you look at your 10 years in New York?
Well, what's interesting is our head of acting and directing now at Scottsdale, he and I met in New York City at Stella Adler Studio of Acting. Oh. So, I was their resident set designer and their production manager. And he and I would work on so many theatrical productions together. Mm-hmm. One of them was called Lebensraum. And he and I worked on it at Stella Adler. And even the playwright Israel Horovitz came, saw it, and said, "Oh, you need to move this off Broadway." And so we're like, okay. So we got funding. We were able to move it, and it was a hit. It was very successful, and it was one of those things that cemented his and ours working relationship way back when, and now here at Scottsdale,
back together.
No kidding.
Yeah, which I love it. We got the gang back together again. And it also just was beautiful memories, when the cast gels and the designers and the crew gel, and it just is this wonderful experience. Those are things that you never forget.
Teamwork, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then talk to us or tell us how you got to Scottsdale. What was the connection to Scottsdale?
So while I was working in New York, I would spend 1 month in the winter here in Phoenix, Arizona, working for Phoenix Metropolitan Opera, which is different than Arizona Opera. And I would come do wardrobe work with them. And so I met a lot of the people in the industry here, particularly the educators. This woman named Kim Williamson was in my teaching position as SEC before me. So I knew her, I knew people. So when the job came up, I kind of jumped on the opportunity to apply to be in this area because I already had a lot of connections here. When I was living in New York, I was nearing my mid-30s. We're not going to get into my age right now. But
we're not counting. Kevin, put the calculator away. It's okay, man.
I looked around and I'm like, I still have roommates. I'm scrambling to make ends meet. I want to be able to own a car.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't need that in New York, though, do you?
No, and I didn't. And so I'm like, I could have a car, a pool. What is this? Own property? This is a thing? And so I decided that I wanted to leave and pursue the same thing I was doing elsewhere. And so this opportunity came up at Scottsdale, and I jumped on it, and I was just fortunate to get it. It can be difficult to get a teaching position in the community colleges because of how amazing the culture is in community colleges, and the demographic of students are just phenomenal because they're dying to be there. They want to be there. And so that kind of environment, educators really strive to want to get. So I didn't realize how coveted and how, hard fought that was. I just kind of stumbled into it because I think my background in New York gave me a leg up, at least to get to the interview process and the micro teaches and stuff.
Kevin, we talk a lot about the community colleges here, how good and how valuable they are to our studies and communities.
Yeah, I that's interesting. I want to expand that a little bit because I'm a product of a community college. Went there, loved my experience there, and thought it was great. But are you saying that it's difficult to get a job in community college because the educators who work there have better students who want to be there? I mean, that's a big part of it?
That is a huge part of it.
Really? I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I was always thinking that, people would like to gravitate towards a major university, even if they, as a second opportunity. But that's not the case at all, huh?
No, I have found that most educators, when they get a job in a community college, they stay till they retire or pass away. Yeah.
Even better then. Even more reason to love our community colleges then.
Exactly right. Well, and the makeup of students is different. Most of the students are working, and they're there to further their careers, and it's a different demographic. And it connects with what the community needs, and it's affordable, which is fantastic.
It is, and that's what I love about it. I went to 2 colleges that were private universities, and I've been through the rigorous programs and everything. And when I started teaching at Scottsdale, I realized the quality of education is exactly the same. It's just the demographic of students slightly different, and I think they're a little bit more hungry. They want to be there more because in a lot of ways, some of them had to work harder to be there, especially if they're return learners. They have families, they have jobs or economic hardships. And so their passion and drive runs deeper than because their parents told them they had to kind of education, for sure.
When you're a little bit older, you're also working, and maybe you have a family, you're going to take things a little bit more seriously, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I was a student at Penn State, I didn't take anything seriously.
Yeah, right.
And I was lucky to get out, and then thank goodness I did. But if I'd been a few years older, with a little bit more maturity and a little bit more responsibilities, I would have been a different student, for sure.
Yeah. And it's just sort of nice to be in an environment with students who want to be there. I'm also lucky to be teaching in a field that students want to do.
Destination, huh?
Yeah. Students want to be filmmakers. They want to be in theater. They want to be a part of these programs. And so they're hungry for it. They want to participate. They want to lean in. And so it's exciting because I get a lot of really high energy students that want to be there and do it.
So tell us a little bit about the program that you offer at Scottsdale Community College. I know you guys have a broad range of things from editing to acting to design to all kinds of stuff. So tell us some of the major highlights, I guess, of the programs you have.
So what's awesome is, or one of the, I like the word amazing things that we offer. Scottsdale School of Film and Theater is exactly that. I say film plus theater. So it gives a broad opportunity for students to be able to explore film craft plus aspects of theater if they want to. The nice thing is it is kind of a choose your own path based off of your interests. And it can vary from anything related to in film that is involved in editing, production. You can become a cinematographer. You can focus on screenwriting. Screenwriting also will envelop a little bit of playwriting, so you can get some theater aspects there. We have performance directing. You can follow a producer path. You can follow production design path. We have sound. So if people want to focus on doing things like recording podcasts like we're doing today, or if they want to focus on sound editing for film or television, we have that option as well. So it is really far flung in terms of opportunities. I think the key is helping students get to us and then figure out what their journey wants to be. What are they excited to want to learn? A lot of students come in and they say, I want to do film. And we're like, great. And then they walk away, they become a theater actor.
You thought you wanted to do film.
Right. Or you're in theater and then they realize they love film direction. And so the nice thing is like a lot of colleges, students can come in with a focused path, but we give the opportunity for them to explore within that to really discover what their passion is. Because if I had a dream, it would be everybody would do what they love to do, right? And I would love for each one of these students to find their passion within the field, whatever suits their interests, their skill level, and everything else they want to do, that they can find that within our program. And so a lot of our beginning classes are all about exploring a variety of topics so they can start to find what that path is within that.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Amazing. Keep the amazing word
amazing.
going.
Yeah,
Right,
I like
right.
that now. Talk to us a little bit about some of your alumni. I saw a really cool video that Bill Hader did recently, or TikTok or something, where he was commenting on how good his experience was at Scottsdale, which I didn't even know he even went there.
Yeah, he's a graduate. Bill Hader, sure.
Yeah, Bill Hader is a graduate of our program, and he also did a video congratulating us on the Variety.
Oh, he did?
He did that
did
recently
really?
too.
Oh,
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it was really nice of him to kind of mention that.
Yeah.
He's probably our most famous alumni, but we have a lot of other alumni that are working all over the place. I see on social media, because I'm connected to some of our graduates, who are working on television shows. They're working on films as camera people, as all kinds of crew. There's one student that had kind of cross paths between film and theater. She was in some theater classes plus film. She was an editor. And I watched her rise. She got a job at Netflix as an editor. And then now she works for HBO as one of their lead editors.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So it's kind of amazing to see them just kind of climb the trajectory, being able to, she went right in as an editor and then moved her way to like better paying, I don't even want to say one is a better company or not, but, she's working her way up the ladder. And it's just fantastic to see these opportunities.
Of all the career paths you have in the school and all the opportunities you have, what are the most popular ones in terms of student involvement? What do the students gravitate toward, do you think, the most?
Well, that's hard to say because I think it follows trends. Students who come in with the ideas of wanting to do the most obvious things, meaning the things that are the most front facing. So a lot of students come in saying, I want to be a director. I want to be an actor. I want to be in production. They don't necessarily understand what that means because those are the things you hear of when people talk. Or a lot of students come in as screenwriters or television writers because those are the things that are trending in terms of when you hear about things, you hear about showrunners or you hear about actors, and so that those are the positions they know. And then when they go through the program, they start to discover other jobs that are available that may fit their skill sets, or they may stay tried and true with what they thought they wanted to do. But I usually find that it's the most popular front-facing jobs are the ones that the students come in.
Yeah. So talk about some of the resources too. I mean, you got to have cutting-edge resources and tools so that your students are prepared to get jobs, which they do, by the way. We can talk about that in a second. How do you keep everything funded? Take us behind the scenes in terms of the resources and the equipment and and all the stuff that you have that makes the school work?
Yeah. So we have $2.5 million worth of film equipment that we keep in our film cage. And we call it our lending library because our philosophy, the Scottsdale School of Film and Theater, is to get cameras in students' hands immediately. And so this equipment, we call it our lending library because students can check it out for whatever project they're doing. And it involves cameras, lights, C-stands, and a variety of cameras, by the way, ranging from DSLRs all the way up to REs and Reds, which are what they shoot some of the biggest Hollywood films on. So we have enough equipment that you can make any major motion picture on there if you want that level. And so it's exciting because it goes along with that philosophy of students get to be hands-on immediately, and they're trained on this equipment because it's that training that helps them get those jobs pretty quickly. There's nothing wrong with film theater studies and a lot of different aspects. I think that's also important. We teach film studies as well, but we're teaching them film studies at the same time that they are also getting 2 years worth of experience while they're at SEC. So it does kind of set us apart in terms of being able to offer that opportunity right away.
So I saw a stat that said 85% of your graduates get jobs right away.
Yeah.
So you're filling the pipeline quickly, aren't you?
We are. And it's all over. The nice thing is it's not just, we do send a lot of students, of course, out to LA, but a lot of students stay here too. One of the most important things for me as a department chair is to make sure that there's opportunities for students in the Valley because, a lot of students plus parents don't necessarily want to lose their kids to California, or they don't necessarily want to leave. So if there's enough employment opportunities that students can graduate at SEC and then get a job here, then they can continue to grow their dreams and aspirations here in Arizona, and specifically even Scottsdale. But I'm constantly trying to develop new relationships all the time. I'm working with the city of Scottsdale to hopefully come up with some great opportunities with their film office. I work with our state film commissioner on what's happening just within the whole state of Arizona. I remember taking a tour of the Cardinal Stadium a couple years ago, and they were like, yeah, all of our students are SEC alumni.
Is that right?
Yeah, the ones that run their, when they do the graphic changes and they run all of the live switching and events for stuff. I don't know if that's currently today, but when I took that tour just a couple years ago, it was like, yep, alumni. I knew some of them too. I'm like, oh, hey.
That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, even down to like Cardinal Stadium. I mean, there's so many different opportunities to be bringing.
So you're talking about opportunities. Dom's probably going to ask this question. Sorry, Dom.
There you go, man.
Preempting you there.
Oh.
Talk about Governor Ducey's legislation he passed a couple of years ago, or signed into law, that is help bolstering the film industry in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game changer in Arizona. It's an absolute game changer. One of the things when that passed is our film state commissioner, Matthew Earl Jones, realized that we needed to develop even more infrastructure for film to be able to make it here. So what's happening is interest and eyes are on Arizona for this type of development. Now, film takes time. I like to tell people about this. It takes time to develop. You'll hear people say, oh, this film was 8 years in development and then they filmed it, right? Or a director or a producer developed this for 6 years.
Yeah.
There are projects that are now being developed with eyes to shoot in Arizona, right? But it takes time. It can take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But each one of those projects that people are now shifting and looking at Arizona are going to be here in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
You better be ready now, huh?
So yeah, we have to be ready because to fulfill that tax incentive or to get the tax credits, they have to hire a certain percentage of local talent to be able to get the credit. Not only that, but they want to hire local talent because they save a lot of money. They don't have to house them. They don't have to feed them. Or they do have to feed them, but they don't have to they don't have to try to bring them all in, pay for transportation and stuff. They can just hire local. And so, right.
Yeah.
And so I know that in conversations, he's like, okay, I think we have enough people to handle a certain number of major films. But if we get to a certain level, we're going to run out of people fast. And so as an education system, we're trying to help develop and train people to be ready to start to match the industry. I'm calling it like a scaffold effect, right? You got to build a little and then a little comes and build a little more comes. And that's one of the initiatives we're trying to take on to help fulfill that need.
I saw a stat that said you're getting ready to produce at least 2,000 jobs to get ready for the years ahead. Is that 2,000? Is that the right number?
Yeah, it's 2,000. It's the PA incentive workshop that it really came, the idea came through the State Film Commission office. And Matthew Earl Jones in particular was like, we need people. We need people trained, and we need them trained fast. And so the goal is to, within 5 years, train 2,000 people to be PAs on film sets and television series.
That's an army of people to come out of there. So how many will come out of SCC in your school?
Oh, I'm not sure what the number is going to end up being. For PAs in particular, it's actually just a free service that's offered to anybody in the community. It's a 1-week workshop that's offered. We worked in conjunction with the film office as well as other programs. We help them develop the curriculum for this 1-week free workshop. And it's offered all over the state at different colleges. So other colleges have bought on and said, yes, we want to do this. So they offer it. We tend to run it once a year as well, but it is 1 week free to the community. So anybody can sign up.
That's pretty cool. Kevin, you ought to do that, man.
I was just saying, it's too late for me. That's really cool.
It's never too late for you.
Wow.
You can do this. And it's 1 week. And the goal is when you've completed this certification, you get put on the list of being hireable by the state for any film that comes in looking for PAs. So yeah, and the goal is to get 2,000 people within that database in 5 years. And this program has been going on for 2 years, so we've got 3 years left to hopefully meet that initiative of 2,000 PAs.
The state's been talking about trying to expand the film industry here for so many years because we've got such a natural place to have films, right? And we've had a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging to hear that maybe there's a lot more that could be in the pipeline once we get people ready to supply the workforce needed to make it happen, right?
Yeah. HBO was just shooting the first season of a television series out in Tucson not too long ago. And there's been kind of people are murmuring about building new film studios. So people are eyeballing for film studios. You have, I keep saying to people, my students in general, I'm like, the first person to build a prop rental house is going to make bank because we don't have those.
Really?
Costume, if people wanted to do a costume shop where they build or rent specifically for film.
Right.
Prop as well. Those are not really 100% here yet.
So that's the infrastructure you're talking about you need to have in place to look at this new spike that's coming up in the future then.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talked about the talent being developed now to fill that void, but you're also talking about the residual type of supplemental industries that need to fill that.
Big time.
And it will. And that's exciting. I keep saying in the next 5 years, 6, 7 years, the industry here is going to be so vastly different and so exciting. And so many opportunities because of the type of industry that's going to grow. One of the coolest things about Arizona is, we have the most beautiful desert landscape. I know that Star Wars kept trying to come in to be like, hey, can we film here? Right? Westerns, all kinds of things. But when you think about other areas in Arizona, particularly like if you go up north country, that looks nothing like, the desert landscape. That's something else.
You've got everything here. All
we
of it.
do.
Yeah.
You could actually shoot someplace in Arizona and it can represent a different state of all 50 states.
Yeah.
When I was in Yuma, 1982, Return of the Jedi was being filmed.
Really?
And they built one of the sets out in the sand dunes that you see right outside of Yuma.
Yeah.
And I was at the newspaper and it was top secret. George Lucas was in town. We saw all the actors. And when Yuma's not a big city.
Yeah. So
when you see the cast of Star Wars walking around town, you notice them. So as a newspaper, we wanted to go out and film and record and write stories about this set that they were building in the dunes outside of Yuma. And we snuck out there one night and took pictures. We finally cut a deal with George Lucas and said, we'll give you the story if just lay off and not come out and try to look at our set before it's done. And anyway, so it was just a really cool story. Just a small example of what Arizona has in terms of potential for filming. It's amazing.
If anybody's ever hiked Tom's Thumb, I feel like I'm on Mars every time I'm up on that.
Yeah.
And what's exciting is I think everything builds momentum, right? It takes one big film to then break through and everybody, the dam kind of breaks and everybody wants to come in. So, and I'm just excited. I'm excited as an educator to be right here. When I was the department chair 10, 11, or 9, 10 years ago, I was really advocating for these film tax credits because as this educator, I want Arizona to be a thriving community for my students to be able to have careers.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important to me for them to have the option of being able to stay local or, of course, move somewhere else. But if they don't want to move out of state, they shouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And so here it is, fast forward, and we have these credits and it's happening. It's building.
Really cool.
It just takes time, right? So right now, what's exciting is everybody who's listening to this now, put a pin in this, revisit this episode in 5 years, and you can look and see just how much things have changed with film studios and rental houses and job opportunities and who's shooting what, where, when. I think you're going to start to see a lot of growth, and it's incredibly exciting to be at the beginning of
That's
it.
so cool.
So do you guys still have a film festival?
We used to until the pandemic hit.
Oh,
and so
okay.
right now there's a lot of different programs and different things that we're trying to put back into place, right?
Okay.
It is tricky to jumpstart when your program is completely shut down.
Yeah.
Right? Film and theater. It's like, how do you teach them how to use a camera when they're in their living room?
Right. Yeah.
So right now we are looking at either our own festival, partnering with other film festivals, and we're trying to find out the best relationship so that when we can rebuild it for students, it's going to be optimal for them.
So tell us about what it used to be like before the pandemic. So let's just assume that the pandemic happened. Or what it looked like before?
So we
student
had
run, right? Or
it was
films?
student film, all student films, all SEC student films specifically. What was nice is we had a lot of really great sponsors. Canon sponsored it, and so the winner would get one of those really beautiful DSLR Canon cameras that could shoot film. And the reps would come out and help award it. It was really, really kind of nice. But the students could submit anything that they had created within that year. And we sought out industry experts that were not affiliated with us to judge them. And they, of course, would pick the winners and curate the selection for the festival. And then, of course, we'd have the audience choice. So that one was different where the audience would vote. And then we would rent out Harkins.
Oh,
and
okay.
So it would be like a red carpet with the step and repeat, the whole thing.
Wow.
Students could bring their families and watch it in a movie theater and then offer awards afterwards.
Yeah, right.
Exactly how it should be viewed. Yeah.
See, I always wanted to go to that. I was that's really neat. I can't hope that gets sponsored. How many submissions would you get a year?
100.
100?
Wow.
Well, we will usually produce about 600 films in a school year.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're doing a lot. Like we're not talking a small program. We are a big program where we're always producing. When I say the students have cameras, they have cameras and they're producing things. 600 films in a year.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how that's why you're one of the top 20 in the country.
Right?
Right? Yeah. That's why you're recognized. Yeah. Did you see the movie The Fabelmans? You probably had the Spielberg movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
So cool to watch. And he was in Arcadia High School when he got the bug for filming. I wonder what would have happened if your school of film and theater was around when Spielberg was there.
I think it would have been, I think it would have helped him.
I think it would have.
Yeah, I think
because he learned it all on his own, right? And became what he became. But and he's one of the proud, the alumni of Arcadia and of Phoenix Theater, where he began his, his first showing was there. But it would have been cool if SEC's School of Film and Theater was around. We had talent like that. They were doing it on their own and kind of making it happen.
Well, we do always have amazing students that come in and really take advantage of everything we have to offer, and they work really hard. And I'm waiting for them to be that. Like who's the next Bill Hader?
Yep.
But not even Bill Hader, but film director or whatever. Because that will happen. These students are going to get to that point where it's we get to say, hey,
could be on campus right now.
I think they are.
Yeah.
What a great conversation, Kevin. This is amazing. These people we find and get a chance to talk to. It's just, Kevin and I get a blast doing this.
Oh, yeah. And I keep thinking, when we have this great conversation, I'm thinking, how come we did this earlier? Why did we wait so long?
I know.
Just because of logistics and things like that. But I'm glad you're here today. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I always love talking about the success of my students and department because everybody works so hard to get there, and we're just proud of it. We're proud of the students and what they can accomplish. So
I love your passion for what you do. It's right. Cool. It's there. Isn't it on display here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think that's one of the reasons it's rocking and rolling.
And again, you said this earlier, Don, but this is, I mean, I think the film school, the SEC, is really one of our hidden gems in Scottsdale.
I agree.
Something to be proud of, something to hang our hat on, and something needs more attention. So that's why we should have had it on the program earlier. But still, you're here now, so that's good.
Better now than never, right?
Yeah, I always say our timing is perfect. There's a reason why it needed to be today, as opposed to yesterday or next week. So I just appreciate y'all having me.
Fantastic to have you on there. What a great conversation, and we knew you had something special going on out there. Now we got some details on why that is. But what a fantastic chance it's been to get to know you.
Well, thank you. This has just been a wonderful opportunity, and I hope that anybody who's listening that is interested in wanting to know more, or if they just want a tour to see what we're about and check out this cage gear, people are welcome to come set up a tour with me or with someone in our office anytime. And we're happy to show them who we are, what we're about, and just see what we can do for them.
Fantastic. Take advantage of it. Amanda Embry, thank you so much today. And thanks to all of our listeners. We're now back in the saddle. We're back going weekly again. We're in a brand new studio. We're rocking and rolling, man. You're
going to do your normal outro there, which I think is great. But I kind of interject for one quick thing. We have a brand new YouTube channel that just got launched.
That's right.
And we need people to subscribe to it. It's bigger, it's better, it's optimized. It's going to be really cool. All these are future shows in our new home are going to be on there. If you get a chance, visit YouTube and look for Today and Tomorrow with Scottsdale Podcast. Click on that subscribe button. You'll be notified of all the great guests we have in the future. And
share it. Tell people that, because we're getting a nice following now. People like what we're doing. So share it with your friends and tell the world that we got some cool things happening here in Scottsdale. We've done 133 episodes now, and we're going to do hundreds more because there's so many cool stories to tell.
We're just getting started.
And we'll see you next week for the next edition of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.